Hello friends, my name is Adrika and this is chapter 2 of the Adventures of Tom Sawyer. The chapter name is Tom Meets Beckey. So let's start. The next morning, like every Monday, Tom had to go to school. The very notion made him miserable. On waking up, he began to plan ways to skip school. But he was a healthy boy and could not find anything wrong with himself to use an excuse not to attend school. After some deep thinking, he realized that one of his upper front tooth was loose. But just as he was about to pretend to moan and groan in pain, he remembered that his dear Aunt Polly was adept at wrenching out loose tooth and forget all about his scheme, as he did not want to feel that horrible pain. He suddenly remembered a doctor describing his patient's illness, which left person bedridden for a fortnight. Tom had a sore toe that he had neither noticed nor thought about in days, and he wondered if he could fool Aunt Polly. So he began moaning and wailing. Sid, who slept in the next bed, kept sleeping soundly and did not even hear his groans. To get his attention, Tom raised the volume of his moans until Sid woke up and quickly ran downstairs to fetch Aunt Polly. "I think he's dying," gasped a terrified Sid to Aunt Polly. "Rubbish," she replied, but hurried upstairs to see what the matter was. She turned pale when she saw Tom's condition. "Aunt Polly, it's my sore toe. I think it's about to fall off," wailed Tom. At this, Aunt Polly heaved a sign of relief and sat down, laughing and crying a bit. She told him to stop the nonsense and dressed for the school immediately. At this, Tom moaned loudly. "Oh, but Aunt, it hurts me so much that I forget about my loose tooth." As soon as he said those words, he was in trouble. She examined his tooth, tied a silk thread, and began to pull it out. Tom cried and begged her to stop, but she was not to be dissuaded. She brought a hot log from the kitchen, thrust it dangerously close to his face, and when Tom jumped back in fright, he saw the tooth dangling in the silk thread. The gap between Tom's tooth made him object of attention and envy in the eyes of the other boys on the way to school. Seeing this, he felt that maybe the pain was worth it. When he almost reached the school, he met the son of the town drunkard, Huckleberry Finn. Huck wore rags and hand-me-down clothes and was not bound by any rules. He slept in the doorways and the empty barns and was envied by every boy in the school. He was, however, treated an outcast by the mothers of the other boys. Tom greeted Huck started a serious conversation about the curing warts. He also exchanged his extracted tooth for a tip that Tom had showed him. The negotiations for exchange made him late for the class. When Mr. Dobbins demanded an explanation, he was about to create an elaborate lie when he noticed a pretty blonde girl sitting in his classroom. He also noticed that the only empty chair left in the classroom was next to her. So Tom replied, "I was with Huckleberry Finn." Everyone, including the teacher, was shocked. Nobody admitted to being in a company of the town outcasts. The teacher whipped him with a stick, and as a punishment, he made him sit with the girls. This was exactly the opportunity Tom wanted. He was in pain, but he felt it was a small price to pay to sit beside the girl he loved. The girl, however, ignored him and even refused the peach he offered. So, Tom began to drawing on his slate, covering it with his arm so that she could not able to see. He pretended to concentrate on his drawing. Soon the girl became curious and wanted to see his sketch. Tom pretended to ignore her. She finally whispered, "Let me see." Tom showed part of his drawing, which was the house with a brick chimney set against the blue sky. She was impressed, told him to add people, and claimed that she could not draw. Tom whispered, "It's easy, I'll show you." The girl's name was Becky Thatcher, and she agreed to spend the lunch recess with Tom and learn how to draw from him. Tom returned to his drawing and this time refused to show her his slate. Becky pleaded for a while and he finally showed her the part of his drawing. He had boldly written, "I love you." Becky blushed and one could see that she was very pleased. Thank you.